Can you imagine living in a world with dragons? Giant, winged creatures that breathe fire and rule the skies. Sounds like medieval fantasy, right? But what if I told you there are real animals that strongly resemble dragons? And there is even a scientific explanation on how they can breathe fire. Today, I will tell you how dragons can exist in the real world, the problems of having one in your house, and by the end of this video, I will tell you which of these famous dragons could realistically exist in our world. Throughout all the history, many cultures imagined dragons, even though they never had contact with each other. It didn't matter if you were a samurai in Kyoto or being sacrificed by the Aztecs, you still believe in dragons. Coincidence? I don't think so. Dragons were everywhere. Everyone had their own version of dragons, but what did people from ancient times actually see to imagine something like a dragon? Some scientists believe they saw dinosaur fossils, but since they didn't know what were dinosaurs, their imagination went wild. They began to picture terrifying large creatures that over time gained different traits depending on the culture. Just look at this fossilized stegosaurus and tell me it doesn't look like an armored monster. Clearly a dragon, or at least a Dark Souls boss. But here's the thing, there is an animal that can shoot fire, and I will show you later. Other dragons also inspired the myth, like crocodiles or Komodo dragons. Any scary animal was enough to convert it into a monster. And that's still happening. Just remember the weird creepypastas about Slenderman or the Ayuwoki. Let's talk about the main trait of the dragons, breathing fire. And believe it or not, there is an animal that kinda does that. The bombardier beetle is basically nature's flamethrower. It mixes chemicals inside its body and shoots boiling liquid out of its butt. It's like going to the bathroom after eating spicy tacos. It has two abdominal chambers. One mixes hydrogen peroxide, yes, the same used in rockets, and hydroquinone, and the other holds enzymes like catalase and peroxidase that ignites the mix. When the beetle feels threatened, it starts a violent chemical reaction that can reach over 100 degrees. Okay, it's not fire, but if it touches you, it will burn you. Imagine it like a Nerf gun for boiling chemicals. In dragons, they could have internal chambers to mix and shoot flammable chemicals. There is another option a dragon can breathe fire. It's with a liquid called the ethyl ether. It's a volatile organic liquid, extremely flammable, that produces explosive vapors ignitable by a spark, friction, or anything. It's so flammable that if you spit out, it might just ignite on contact. Some bacteria can produce sulfuric acid and some microbes can produce ethanol. When mixed, they produce the ethyl ether. Dragons could have a special gland to generate and store this compound. All they need to do is spit the ethyl ether while creating friction with their teeth to ignite it. It's like having a lighter in your mouth. But how don't they burn from the inside? That energy needs to dissipate, which means the respiratory system and skull will need to be made of an ultra-heat resistant biological material. And that doesn't exist in nature. Even if it sounds like a fantasy, breathing fire is still possible. But there is even a more important reason why dragons cannot exist. What do you think it is? Leave it in the comments and by the end of the video, you will know. But first, let's talk about the second trait of the dragons, flying. For something that big to fly, it will need hollow bones like birds and an air sac system. These sacs act like internal air balloons, cooling the body and reducing the weight. There are three ways a dragon might fly. Active flight, like eagles. They need huge wings and body weight under 300 kilograms. Gliding, like the albatrosses, can be heavier but needs height and air currents. Gas flotation. They only need to be filled with methane or hydrogen sacs and they could float like a living balloon. What about the dragons of Game of Thrones? They are really big. For example, Drogon is like 10 meters long and it weighs more than 30 tons. That's several times more than any real flying creature. Maybe he could fly when he was younger, but as he grew, his mass will break the laws of flight. In fact, Valerion, the Black Dread, stopped flying in his later years, and this will be scientifically correct. It's not just the size. there are other things to take into account, like the scales. This will add weight to the flying, and it will be better if it has feathers, like the birds. A feathered dragon, like the one from Raya, will be more realistic, even though she doesn't have wings and seems to fly by magic. Her feathers help with aerodynamics. Maybe dragons could have a mix of feathers and scales, like Archaeopteryx, or membrane wings, like bats or pterosaurs. Think it in this way: who flies better, a golden eagle or Godzilla with cardboard wings? Makes more sense, right? Now we need to talk about material resistance. More mass means more structural force needed, but bones doesn't increase in strength at the same rate as body weight. Eventually, dragons will collapse under their own weight. Fire breathing is possible if they had special organs to produce volatile compounds like the beetles or the bacteria, assuming they don't incinerate themselves. Flight, only possible for small dragons. Smog and Drogon break these rules. Giant size. Again, biological and physical limits make dragons of that size impossible. But have you ever wondered how much it costs to have one? Let's start with the size. A Game of Thrones style adult dragon is over 10 meters long, basically a winch boss. You'd need a retractable roof or move to a mountain. Now let's talk about the food. A dragon like that might eat 100-200 kilograms of meat daily. That's like feeding 30 lions or having a barbecue for the entire neighborhood every day. What will be the estimated cost? Over $1,000 a day in a meat. Per month, you will have to sell your car and your neighbors too. And the worst part, what goes in comes out. A dragon will poop like an elephant with diarrhea. 50-70 kilograms of waste per day. Having a dragon will be expensive, dangerous, smelly, and probably illegal. But let's be honest, we all want one. Maybe if they invented mini dragons like the one of Harry Potter 4, that would be $1 million idea. So, could dragons exist? Maybe never. I mean, not like Smoke or Drogon, but something like Sisu. We only need to remove all the magical stuff. I mean, she cannot breathe fire, she has feathers. Anatomically, maybe it's a little bit complex to explain, but she can be like a real animal. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and tell me in the comments which mythical creature you would like us to explain. And don't forget to check out my video about the woman who can smell diseases. Believe it or not, that's one's true story.